Hey everyone, it is Jaime Jo Wright here at Madlit Musings, and we have Toni Shiloh back in the house, and I'm so excited. Well, actually, she's not in my house. I wish she was in my house,
Not in
but
a creepy way, right?
well, either way, I would take you because you're just cool. But before we started recording, we've been already talking about orbs and spirits and Shamar Moore. Not that he's a spirit or an orb, but I mean, we've covered pretty much everything there is to cover, and now we just hit record. So let's see if we have anything left to talk about, right?
No kidding.
Okay, but we do have a book to talk about, and the book is The Love Script, which comes out August 1st.
Yes.
Sweet. So everybody
Oh.
treat yourself to a summer read. So it's a Love in the Spotlight novel. And is this the first in a series or?
It is.
All right. So we get more of these. So are we going to get introduced to characters that show up in later books too?
We are. Yes, of course.
I'm so excited. If anybody hasn't figured it out, okay, I'm a serious Toni Shiloh fangirl, and I just met her in person this last weekend, and I'm still kind of riding high on the fumes of that weekend. The
It was,
fumes. That was not like Toni smelled great. I'm just gonna stop talking now.
you might want to. But no, it was great because as soon as I saw you, I was like, it's Jamie Jo. Like I can finally hug her in person and be like, I know you. Like I feel
Yeah,
like every time we get together, we have these deep conversations and then yeah,
yeah,
it was great to see you in
yeah,
person.
exactly. Yeah, we do kind of do that. We like dive into the deep end right away,
Yeah.
and we've never really met in person until now. So now we just gonna get to dive deeper, I guess. That's what we
Right?
do. Yeah. But okay, so you have a book. Tell us a little bit about the book before I really talk myself into a corner.
Okay, so the love script, like you said, it's the first in the Love in a Spotlight series. So each story, the characters are obviously in the spotlight. And in the love script, you have Nevaeh Richards and Lamont Booker, who ended up in the spotlight due to a paparazzi picture that brings Lamont's faith into question.
Hmm.
Is he who he says he is? Is he really a Christian? Does he really stand for celibacy? And so Nevaeh hates to see how the social media world is treating him and agrees to fake date him, which I like to call, romantic mayhem. We all know what happens when you start to fake date.
Right. It's not going to turn out super great at the beginning anyway.
It's not there, but there will be wonderful moments of wit, banter, um, probably moments to make you go, and then hopefully you guys will get all the feels and swoon as well.
Oh, that's great. Feels and swoon worthy is good, especially if you're really into romance, which I don't read a lot of romance, but I do read your romances, Toni.
I know you bless me so much.
So there is that. Okay, so we have a Hollywood star, which I got the comment before we went on air, and I hope it's not a spoiler because I can edit it out if it is. But he was named Hollywood's sexiest man of the year too.
Yes, he's
Okay.
people's sexiest man alive. In fact, they sometimes call him Mr. SMA for that as well. Because she's a little starstruck in the beginning. So you get to hear some of her inner monologue where she's like, Lamont Booker. Because, when you see that famous person, you say their whole name.
Right. Oh, well, of course. Yeah.
Right.
Been Lamont Booker forever. So this really is kind of the epic love story of super fan meets super sexy celebrity. And now they're kind of thrown together into this mishmash of, you know, paparazzi and all the fun that comes from the stories that get told.
Exactly. And of course, since we live in that social media world, you
Mm,
get social media comments thrown into the mix, should they cancel him?
mm,
Is he really a Christian? Because obviously that picture says more than a Christian should be shown in.
mm,
Um, so I just kind of explored the little things that are going on in the world in my own way with these two people.
Hmm. Yeah. What was it like exploring some of those? Because those aren't easy topics to approach.
I feel like it was good.
Okay.
Good in the way that I was a little convicted because haven't we all been judgmental in some
Mm.
way on social media? You see something and you're like immediately on the offensive. You want to like rant, or as I put in my book, like keyboard trolls, um, keyboard warriors. Like I was having fun looking up all those terms, but
Oh, yeah.
you feel some autonomy behind the screen and that you could just let your opinion loose and you never check yourself. Whereas if you're face to face, you're more prone to think before you speak. And I feel like sometimes social media strips that. Nobody thinks before they speak, they just start typing. So diving into that world made me think of like how often have I done that in the past? Judge someone
Mm.
just because of some post I saw
Mm.
when really I have no place. Like that person truly isn't in my life. They're a celebrity. I will most likely never meet them. So why am I judging them? Why would I contribute to any unkindness in the
Mm.
world, even if it is only a thought and never lands on my keyboard? Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a good conviction.
That's interesting. I wonder, as we're thinking about it, I'm thinking, what is the impetus for the concept of, you can use the word cancel, or the concept of, demeaning or bringing down someone publicly? What is the sole purpose behind all of that?
Right? I think honestly, everything everything goes back to fear.
Mm.
Usually there's something we fear in our own lives. And so seeing it in the world for whatever reason, like it triggers us. And
Hmm.
so we feel they need to act and respond. But I mean, there are there have been a few cases that I've seen that whole cancel culture where I agree with it.
Hmm.
Definitely needed to happen. I get it. But at what point do you restrain yourself?
Mm.
And at what point does that person you want to cancel get a chance at grace and
Mm.
forgiveness and to see what happens to a person who's been forgiven and had grace poured upon them? Like, at what chance do we offer that when usually you're trying to be cutthroat and just cancel them from existence, aka social media existence? They still
Right.
exist.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Well, and you think about it too, so much of cancel culture on social media, etc., is caused from truth versus perception. What actually is the context of what was said or what was done or the actions that were taken. And in your book, there's a little interlude between Lamont and Nevaeh, which is taken completely out of context, and that's sort of what sends them down this spiraling path, correct?
Exactly. She almost trips. He catches her. A picture is snapped, and the talking heads go at it, basically alluding that it appears like they're in an intimate relationship when that's not the case. Like he
Mhm.
literally just saved her from tripping. But if you tell that to the world, like, are they going to believe you even
Right.
when it's the truth? Um, so I think that too, like you said, there has to be context. And a lot of times, especially how everything is getting shorter, you have the reels, you have the
Yeah.
shorts. Um, you don't really have the full context, but yet you just see that little snippet
Hmm.
and you're triggered, and then you jump on the cancel culture bandwagon. Um, I think that social media, in a sense, like has wiped our patience and our um, fact finding skills. Like, I mean, we grew up in the world of like encyclopedias. You had to go
Right.
somewhere to research facts. And even though you have the internet search engines on your phone, how rare do people still take the time to search a fact
Yeah.
before responding?
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting too, because sometimes you have this vision of what this famous person or even not so famous person is based off of their persona on
Right.
social media. And then you meet them in person if you're, so blessed or lucky. And you're like, wow, that's not at all how I pictured them, and how much is fabricated as an image that's put forth to even safeguard from wrong images, etc.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even for us, we're on social media.
Yeah.
We have our followers and we present ourselves in a certain way. Um, People might take every single thing that we do and build up a persona
Right.
based off just those little posts. I mean, think about it. They're not that many posts. Like, and most of us, I think, stick to surface level conversations.
Mhm.
We don't go deep. So how can you say you know a person that you follow online if you haven't sat down and talked with them and known like what's their daily routine, like
Mhm.
what's bugging them, what's hurting them, like all of
Yeah.
these things that shape us, we're missing on a screen.
Hmm. Absolutely. And so then, like in the love script, it sometimes forces people to take some drastic measures to avoid canceling. And I will go online for the record and say I have never gone to this desperate of a measure as your characters go to.
I know I've never fake dated a person either. But tell me why this trope is so like I hear the word fake date and I'm like, click,
Right?
like it's in my cart, it's on my e-reader, and I'm so there for it.
It's kind of like the whole historical arranged marriage thing.
Yes, I
It's
think
like
it is.
fake dating is like the contemporary romance version of the historical, mail order bride, or, whatever that
Right.
situation is.
Right. And you're there for it because you're like, oh, it's gonna be awkward.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to discover who they really are, like not
Mhm.
just what's been presented, but like who they really are. And yeah, they're kind of stuck with each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know, good things happen when you're stuck with another person. Bad
Right.
things, bad things too. Like you need the entertainment, but
Yeah. Or in my books, you get killed. But, that's a different genre. So we'll stick with your genre. But so your characters go into a fake dating relationship to offset, essentially, the paparazzi and all the stories that are flying around. Now, we have two different characters, and this relationship and this media attention really kind of gets them both different reactions. Am I right in saying that?
yes, yes. So, Lamont, he's the Hollywood star. He's the golden boy. So once he enters a fake relationship and, things come out, they do the story, they tell the truth they want people to get behind, and life goes up for him. He's not canceled. The fans love him. They do the whole awe, but they don't love Nevaeh. Um,
Hmm.
they start showing up at her work. They're mad, either because of jealousy or because they feel that she doesn't have the Hollywood figure,
Hmm.
that size six. Is it still size six or is size two now the new thing?
I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
size zero, honestly.
Right? But she
Like it's
doesn't
or
have that,
-2, maybe.
right? Yes, definitely.
I'm in double
Uh,
digits, so I don't count.
yeah, I can't remember the last time I was in single digits, but Nevaeh is definitely a double digit girl and they can't stand it. That
Hmm.
someone that looks like her would land with the sexiest man alive.
Hmm. Man, we are so it's funny because, like, you hear this as a fiction novel, and it almost sounds like you're literally reciting something that you just read out of People magazine or something like that. Like, it sounds completely believable because it happens on a regular basis. And now I'm getting passionately irritated that we judge people so harshly based on this concept of what we think we somehow have the right to hold people to some standard that hasn't been biblically laid out for us.
Right. And the question always is like, do you hold yourself to the same standard?
Mm,
It's the whole log in the eye,
yeah.
the speck in your eye, and when you're judging someone by a log, like, would you look at your own self and be like, well, I have the Hollywood figure? If you can't say that, like, why are you upset? Right? Like
I have to go choke now.
you snort loud. Like, so why would we be upset if a good-looking man is with a heavier woman? Like,
Right. I think it's jealousy to a degree.
well, yeah,
It's
but
like covetousness, like, oh, what?
you know, and I think we don't want to deal with whatever is going on inside with us, so we point fingers.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
way, the heat is now no longer on us.
Hmm. So one of the things that I love too in this book that you were telling me about is the fact that you kind of flip the narrative a little bit on the hero and the heroine's faith walk, because so often you have like your celebrity figure, and then you have this person of quiet faith that comes in and sort of challenges them against the norms of their celebrity careers, etc. And you
Right.
really have kind of flipped that, where he's this God seeking, God wanting to glorify God, celebrity, and she's kind of just like there.
Yeah. Like I believe, but I don't have to go all out in my
Yeah.
faith. I don't have to go to church. Reading your Bible every day isn't a requirement. As long as I'm talking to God, I'm good. Um, and then seeing his faith walk, seeing how he does do daily readings in his Bible, he does go to church. He's public about his faith. It challenges her and
Mm.
makes her think like, is my faith where it should be? Um, am I doing things for God, or am I just trying to maintain my own comfort zone, um, and let God, have his place?
Right.
But we don't
Right.
have to actually intertwine.
Yeah. What's the okay, so that's an interesting thought that just crossed my mind. So we have the concept of judgment, unkindness, cancel culture on one side. And then on the other side, we have the concept of you're not approaching your faith in the way that you should. And so, what's the difference between one set of judgments versus what others might perceive as a set of, you're judging how I interact with my faith or whether I'm Christian enough?
um, so you know how you said it sounds like you just saw this on a newsstand
Yeah.
and yeah, that's exactly kind of what prompted me of the am I a good enough Christian? I have seen so much in just the past year online of Christians judging Christians,
Mm,
of Christians going, well, she posted that, she's not a Christian, or she said that, she's not a Christian. And like the battle has never and was never supposed to be Christian versus Christian. I
right.
don't know when that happened. I don't know how it happened. Well, I have some ideas of how it happened, but like it bothers me.
Yeah.
And I guess the person in me who likes peace and not conflict, kind of want to explore that. Like, how can I um make a difference? Just with a fiction story, how could I get us to stop to think and examine ourselves and ask ourselves, like, are we looking at the log and ignoring all the little specks
Yeah.
in our own eyes?
Yeah. No, and I think that's one of the things with the story of grace, and then also the concept of freedom that we have in Christ. I think there's a second, and I'm going to paraphrase horribly, and I can never remember references, but I know that there's a section in I believe it might be in Romans or Acts, but I think it's in Acts, where the Apostle Peter goes up on the roof and he's shown this sheet filled with food that, according to Jewish tradition, is inedible and unclean. It's more than just inedible;
Yes.
it's considered unclean. Like, you don't defile your bodies with this food, and yet God is laying it out for him. And state basically, it's an inflection that God's opening up his arms to more than just the chosen people, but to the world, and including um, people from all different backgrounds and
Yes.
varieties. And it's not just this one cookie cutter person or segment of people, but it's something that God can encompass and bring about the changes that he wants to bring about in us. I'm not saying that we ignore sin, but that is such an
Right.
individual journey as well.
Yeah, and I think we forget that it's an individual journey. Um, Maybe we're, 5 steps ahead of our neighbor. And so
Mm,
we're looking back at our neighbor and we're judging our neighbor.
right.
But you're not in your neighbor's shoes. You don't know your neighbor's pace.
Hmm.
Like you're not all seeing, all knowing. So that right there, you would think would stop us, but for some reason it doesn't.
Right.
Um, and I just think a lot of times it's all like rooted in fear that either you're going to slip up,
Hmm.
um, or fear that you're not going to make it far enough. Like, I don't know. There's just so many different issues why we do what we do. Um, but like you said, it's supposed to be all nations, like
Right.
all of us.
Hmm.
And if it's all nations, that means we don't all look alike. We don't
Right.
all have the same experiences. Like we are all different.
Yeah.
I think if people can remember that, they can leave the judgment
Hmm.
behind and embrace people and come alongside people. Like maybe that person that's 5 steps behind is 5 steps behind because they haven't met you yet. And your kindness, your grace, your mercy
Hmm.
will help them move that one step ahead. And then another
Yeah.
person comes along and helps them move ahead. Or you meet that person who seems 5 paces behind you, tells you some truth, and now you're able to take a step forward.
Right.
Like
Right.
we can all learn from each other. We can all grow from one another.
Hmm.
But if we don't do the, one another's that it lists out in the Bibles,
Right.
then we're just going to be
With
divided.
we're gonna be without another.
Right. We are. I mean,
We'll be on
um,
our own and have fun with that because one person on their own is not usually a good set of circumstances, I guess.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I could talk forever, but this is, it's funny because we're talking about a fiction novel and it feels like we literally just talked about some real people in the media and we've kind of dived on just underneath the surface of some of these topics. We really haven't necessarily gone super, super deep because we only have so much time. And
Right.
it is a scary topic to have these conversations. But I think you and I both agree on the fact that and this is something you and I have always been really good at. Well, I should say, I believe we're really good at. Hopefully, you feel this mutually, but good open dialogue, even if you
Yes.
don't agree on certain things or certain issues within Christianity, etc., this or that, that open dialogue and that trust that the other person still respects you at the end of the conversation, even if, and this has not happened to Toni and I, but even if you are diametrically opposed in your belief systems and what you stand for, but you can still stand together out of mutual respect for the other person's soul as it stands before God.
You said it beautifully. Like, seriously, I got chills. Yes, that in a nutshell. Oh, must be why you're award-winning author. So
No,
beautifully
I
wrote
think
it.
I think it's the amount of caffeine I've consumed today. Maybe something good came out of that for once. Oh man, I just am so personally passionate about the diversity within the body of Christ. And I don't just necessarily mean ethnic diversity, but I mean diversity from backgrounds,
Yes.
experiences, um, ancestry and legacy, and all the things that influence the people that we've become. We all have different stories. And I think as writers, this is why we like to explore different genres. I write ghosts and murder, and you write romance and Hollywood, you know, fake dating. What's better than that, right? We should write a book together. That would be a
Oh,
trip.
it really would. I know. Hey, are you still thinking about that idea?
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 Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That idea has been percolating and
Ooh, I'm so
percolating.
excited.
Toni gave me an idea, and that's all we're going to say.
Yes.
But yeah, it's percolating.
Good. I'm going to pray that into fruition.
Now, great. Now you're going to have everybody else praying it into fruition. They don't even know what it is.
Yes. You just trust me. Go ahead and pray. Join me in prayer. We all know what happens when two or more agree. You don't need
Oh,
to
no.
know. God knows. Just agree.
He's like, I'm laying hands on you. Oh, wow. This podcast just flipped in a direction I was not expecting. So
See what
All
happens
right.
when you get us together.
I know it's really dangerous, especially now that we've met in person. It's even like
I know,
more
right?
unfiltered and unfettered. This is great. Okay, so the love script. Back to your book. It's a super cute cover. I absolutely adore it, and it comes out at the beginning of August. Pre-orders are always a good thing. So if this podcast is airing and you're hearing it before August 1st, get your pre-orders in. You can get 40% off from Baker Bookhouse and free shipping. So why not do that now? Because you won't do
Yes.
it once it's out.
And if you pre-order from Baker Bookhouse, you might find like little goodies.
Ooh, all the little
Just saying.
like little swaggy things. Was that a
Yes,
sticker?
it is a sticker.
Sticker.
It's a clapboard sticker.
Shut up. That's
I know, right?
awesome. I
And
love
it
it.
says the love script and Toni Shiloh, and it has even the hairstylist
Ah,
scissors.
I love it.
I know, right?
I love
I
it.
I adore these things.
I also wish Nevaeh was real because I really need a hairstylist badly.
Yes. Yes. The good hairstylists are hard to find, but
They
when you
are.
find one, you're like, you're my best friend now.
I know, right? I love you. I love you. All right. So if you just want to find out more about you, and because this is not your first run at writing a fiction book, you got quite a backlist. So that's a whole other conversation. Where do they go to find out more about you?
ToniShiloh.com.
Awesome.
Easy peasy. You'll see all my books, all the links, all the
Perfect.
things.
And that's Toni with an I, if you didn't already guess that. And it's
Yes.
already, if you're watching on YouTube, it's up in the top corner there. So I mean,
There you go.
that's perfect. All right, Toni, this was super fun. Thank you for putting up with me.
Always, always a pleasure.
You have a wonderful day.
You too.